You are now live. Yeah, Schlock West in the morning, Dash Radio, the spin room. You know what it is.
Hey, yo, what up, party peoples? Welcome once again to another episode of the Spin Room. I be your man, Bigg Pwee. That's my girl, Big Les. What up, Leslie? Les?
Hey, y'all, what's up?
Your girlfriend's favorite DJ Ron C.
What's good, people?
All right, and the millennial, Miss Everything, J. Tasha. What it do?
What it do, baby boo?
All right, somebody is turning up real big right now. Birthday celebration. What up, Jay? Talk to me.
Hey, you know, I'm enjoying my birthday.
It's your birthday.
Yeah.
Get it.
Yeah, one time for the birthday girl, two
Yeah, I'm
times
still
for the
celebrating.
birthday girl.
My birthday was yesterday, but I'm still celebrating, so I'm so excited.
As you should. As you should. All right, man, we got a great show for y'all today, man. We're going to rock out on this Friday, you know what I'm saying? We got a special guest that's in the building. This guy right here. When you talk about R&B, this group has to be in the conversation. Straight out of the ATL, Atlanta, Georgia, man. Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise and give it up for my man Daron Jones of 112. Yeah, man.
Yes.
Okay, there we
Here
go.
it is. All right, so we got to turn the phone one more time. Turn it one more time.
Oh, I still got to turn it?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah, we'll rock like that. It's all good. We're going to make it happen.
He can turn it. It'll flip. It'll flip.
That's...
Uh-oh. Now we see the studio. Okay.
Yeah. I'm like,
See what you've been doing all quarantine, been in the studio.
oh, yeah, all day, every day. So
once again, my man Daron, thank you so much, my brother, for joining us on the Spin Room. Truly appreciate
Thanks
you
for having me.
taking the time out and rocking with us today, man. Let's just jump right into it, man. Let's get it popping. I mean, Atlanta, Georgia, hot spot of quarantine. Y'all folks out there wilding out, man, and I know you being safe. But so what you been doing during this time, man?
Man, you know, I just been kind of detoxing, like really, you know what I'm saying? Detoxing on food, you know, so, and working on music, you know what I'm saying? I was already kind of working on music anyway. I'm working on an album called Pleasure, and I was kind of getting towards the end of that. And then when everything went down recently with Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and, you know, everything else that was going on with police brutality, I kind of stopped for a minute and just backed off from the music for a second. And I just kind of started, you know, detoxing and, of course, staying inside and not really, you know, going into any places unless it's essential, you know.
With the name of your album being called, or the project you're working on being called Pleasure, and then you even just talking about all the things you're really what you're writing about.
Well, yeah, I mean, it totally switched everything. Like I stopped, you know, creating because, you know, with all of that going on, I really wasn't even in the same zone album-wise, you know, and I had wrote a song called I Bleed a few years ago, and it was just in response to some of the police brutality that I was seeing. But, you know, at the time, as we can see now, a lot of those conversations and things that needed to be addressed a few years ago was a little bit taboo. But now they ain't so taboo. So when all this stuff went down, I was doing my lives and the fans kept saying, yo, we need you know, what's going on? We need you to do something musical. And I was thinking to myself, well, I already got this song, you know, called I Bleed, but I really didn't feel comfortable, you know, recording and putting the song out because it was such a touchy subject. And it's not like I'm really, you know, bashing the police per se, but I am holding them accountable for, you know, what's going on in our communities. And I'm addressing it more human sense, you know, calling out for empathy. But at the same time, I'm still saying, hey, you know, don't shoot your gun because I bleed just like you. So it definitely changed my whole, you know, scope in terms of musically what I was working on.
Now, I know you're big in, you know, playing instruments.
Yeah.
That's one of your big things. I think outside of performing and stuff like that, you pride yourself on, you know, the piano, the drums and everything like that. Where did that come from?
Just growing up in church, you know, growing up and everybody, you know, most of the people in R&B started out in church. So, I mean, the drums was really one of the first instruments that I saw outside of the piano on my grandmother's porch, where I started, mapping it out and kind of playing it by ear before I even had a set. Because just watching the guys at church, I could see that the kick drum was doing the bottom and the snare was doing, the clap basically, and then your hi-hat. So I would imagine having a drum set at home and just kind of play songs by ear. So got a chance to pick a pair of drumsticks, I already kind of knew what to do on the drums. But it started from just being at church and being close to music in that way. Like you kind of just, if you had that ear for music, you were gonna reach for it.
Right, right. So, you play a lot of stuff by ear. You started off playing stuff by ear, huh?
Yeah, I played by ear. Like I started playing the piano by ear. I was 3 years old, and my grandma would tell me stories all the time. Like, yeah, baby, all the other kids was outside playing, and you was just on that piano, just a banging. And I was like, for real, Granny? She was like, you was on there just a banging until you started to figure it out. But the kids was playing, and you just on there banging.
Daron, let's go down memory lane real quick, my man. How did 112 come about? Because you guys wasn't 112 at first. So, let's take us down memory. How did Daron, Q, Mike, and Slim come together?
Okay, so we all went to the same high school together, basically. But me and Mike first met in the summer camp. And, I was really kind of could sing a little bit, but Mike was really a grown man already singing. We was probably both maybe 12 or 13 years old, but he sounded like, Gerald Levert or somebody. So, I was impressed with that, and he was impressed with my musical skills. So we kind of just got together and started a little something. And then we met Q and Slim later on in high school. And so the group formed together in high school when we were asked to sing at the coronation. And so we sung at the coronation, and then we did these pelvic thrusts that got us in trouble. And then from there, we kind of just kept the group moving, you know what I'm saying, and started doing talent shows throughout the city as Forte. The acronym that meant Forever en Route to Excellence. So we won all the talent shows in the city, and there was the big Sharon Showcase talent show. We won that one. And so it got to the point where our buzz in the city was because we could no longer compete in the talent shows. They would invite us because they know we needed the exposure, but they was like, you guys are special invited guests. You can't compete no more. So that kind of became our buzz throughout the music industry. So label execs would come down like, who is this Forte group? And it was another group named 4.0 that played instruments and stuff like that. So it was Forte and 4.0, and the label executive was hovering around Atlanta, trying to see, who are these young guys, and so we kind of ended up meeting some of everybody, but Puffy was the one who eventually decided to give us a shot.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, with being under Puffy's label Bad Boy, if you decided to start a label of your own, what would you say you learned to do and not to do from? Because we've heard so many discrepancies over the years about contracts, whether people are just so hungry to be artists and don't, read their contracts and stuff. But being on the inside, what would you say you've learned from him to do and not to do?
I think like what I really learned, firsthand was like, don't get too personal, with your artists. That's what I learned, because I have a production company, DPS Productions, and I had signed some talent over the years, and I was just so cool with them, and to the point where they could wear the clothes out my closet, car. Like I was just so cool with them that eventually that respect level was lost. And I think like I learned from Puffy, like he was cool enough with us where it was no disrespect involved at all. But at the same time, he put a barrier up where you were only going to get so cool with him, as one of his artists, and it always kept that respect level the same. No.
That's dope. You've been in this industry for I don't know how long, my man. A nice little minute. 112 is
20 plus.
I didn't want to put no number on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Claim those years. You kidding? Most people can't say that.
Yeah, 20 plus years.
When you look back up on when you guys started, and when you look at where you are right now and how times has changed, with social media, I noticed that you are really big on staying close to your fan base. Can you explain how important that is to you and what you're trying to do?
I mean, one thing I did notice on your Instagram, you do a lot of morning or daily motivations. And like,
Yeah.
what sparked that?
Well, a lot of times I'm just inspired. So, I want to make sure that anybody following me can get the inspiration that I'm feeling at the moment. So if I think of something that, that I feel like people can use, because sometimes, I get motivated and I just want to share that with everybody else. Because even to like I was just talking about how when you start something off in the beginning, you're not gonna get no help. You know what I'm saying? Like even any businesses that I've started, like I have a production company and I done produce for some of everybody. But in the beginning, when I had to buy that MP3 machine and sit in the studio and learn how to work that and learn how to, sample and learn how to create the beats and sleeping on the studio floor, to get that off the ground, I had to do that on my own. So I was just kind of sharing that idea with people. Like in many cases, even if it's a group of y'all and y'all trying to start something, in that beginning, you're going to have that core get at you, but a lot of people ain't going to support you in the beginning. You're going to pretty much have to do it by yourself. And I was just kind of saying that for the people on my page who might be entrepreneurs and looking to do something. You know what I'm saying? Because I know a lot of people that follow me, they're entrepreneurs and they looking to make moves or to, work for themselves. And so I just like to keep people inspired.
That actually leads me into my next question, which you probably kind of just answered it. I'm a millennial, so there's a lot of like young entrepreneurs, a lot of like artists. What would you tell yourself 20 years ago from being in this business when you first started? Like, what is something that you would tell yourself to keep these millennials going and staying at it to be in this industry for the next 20 years?
Well, I'll just say, each generation, they have better tools. So like the people from the generation before us, like the 80s and 70s, sometimes they'll be mad at you because you have all these tools. So they may say, oh man, y'all ain't doing nothing. We had to get in the studio and we had to sing the song all the way down. We couldn't punch, and we had to pick the best take out of 7 or 8 takes. So we had, you guys can sit up in the Pro Tools and sing it line by line. So I'll say the same to y'all, but in a more positive way. You guys have way more tools. Like in the 90s, it was no way for me to connect with my fan base and to keep them on my hip. I had to go through Arista or Bad Boy or Interscope. Then Interscope had to put it through their marketing channels. You understand what I'm saying? And then from there, if you was the priority in that record label, then you got all that marketing dollars and you was doing your thing. But now, the artists don't need that. You can build your fan base from scratch. I mean, it'll take a lot more work, but then you can build your base from scratch, retain your ownership, and you can walk into a record company and say, hey man, I got this. So how can you help me grow this? How can we partner? Where when I walked into the record company, I just had straight my vocals, you know what I'm saying? And the vocals from the guys in my group. And we just was like, hey, can you help us get this off the ground? You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole nother day now. So I say utilize these tools that you have at your front door. Utilize these tools. Have these tools. If we had these tools, by the time we met Puffy, we had 75,000 followers, 150,000 followers. We've been like, yo, Diddy, we're moving. How can you help us move? Versus, hey man, you moving? Can we move with you?
Right.
Question for you too, man. Since you've been in the game for a long time, where do you see R&B today?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I feel like it. I'll kind of go back to what I was saying earlier. I feel like it evolved. It's evolving the same way it did for our generation, But the youngest have more tools. You know what I'm saying? They have more tools to work with. But I see a lot of the same stuff. I mean, you hear love songs, but at the same time, you hear music about, them thugging. I think I could say that R&B is a little more thuggish, but then I can't really say that because we've always had the thug R&B, the love R&B. I guess the mumble thing has come in, but I mean, I guess to some extent we done had some mumbling too. So I mean,
Another question. Who influenced you? What groups or what artists did you listen to back in the day or even now that influenced you to do what you do?
I really was influenced a lot by Prince because he played multiple instruments, and I always, kind of wanted to do that. Stevie Wonder was probably my main influence because, just playing the piano and singing was always my thing. And aside from those two, I really was influenced by a lot of gospel groups, Commission, Take Six. They had all the Fly Harmony, John P. and the soulfulness of him and the people in his choir. Shout out to Isaac Caree. I remember the first time I heard Isaac Caree singing with John P. Key Choir. I imitated him for like 3 years. So it was a lot of gospel and really the people in R&B like Prince and Stevie.
Oh.
So if right now, if you could put a hit list together of artists that you haven't had a chance to work with, but you want to work with, give me your top 3.
Ooh, that's a good question, man. Man. That's tough. I mean,
have you worked with Dwele?
Huh?
Have you worked with Dwele before?
Nah, I haven't. Man, I gotta think about that question and come back.
Okay, so
That's
you said one person that you worked with Stevie before?
No, I've never worked with Stevie, but I would like to work with Stevie though. I would like to work with Stevie. And she threw Beyonce out there. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Queen Bee?
Absolutely.
I'm just, just saying, let's put that hit list out there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Get you in the studio. I mean, you a songwriter, you a producer. Let's make it happen. You know what I'm saying?
You're into some hits. What about D'Angelo?
Oh yeah, I like D'Angelo too. I'm open, man. I'm open. I ain't picky. I'm open. I'm down. Let's get it.
But I mean, your track record speaks for itself. Like my man, like Gina Thompson. I mean, that was a banger that you wrote and produced there. Isley Brothers, New Edition, Total, Faith, Jamie Foxx. You know what I'm saying? Like comedian, actor, singer, Jamie Foxx. You working with him? Of course, Usher. From your own hometown, ATL. Kelly Price, and of course, Notorious B.I.G. I mean, he was in the camp. So, I mean, you work with a lot of, big name people. If you've even crossed over, because I see also Pink. You even got Pink in here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how did that come about? How did you link up with Pink?
Well, Pink was originally an R&B artist. She was actually in a group. And then she ended up changing her name. So I worked with Pink when she was in the group. And she came back to get the song. She was like, yo, I'm solo now and I'm changing my name, but I still want that song we did, And we was in a studio on Old National.
Wow.
Wow. ATL, yeah. So she was real R&B. She was in the hood, and we was writing this song for her and her girl group at the time. And the studio was owned by, two of the biggest dope dealers on the South Side at the time. I mean, just keep it all the way a buck, And so we wrote the song, and then later on, she came back for it. So that's kind of how the Pink thing. But I want to shout out RL too, because me and RL, the song I did for Jamie Foxx, I actually did the track. So I did all the music, and then RL hit me one day, was like, "Yo, man, I'm working with Jamie. You got something for me." And this track, the crazy part about this track, it was for Janet Jackson, and so it actually had her name in it. So every time the beat would come around, it would say, Janet, boom, boom, boom. The beat had her name in it. So he hit me that day, and, the people who I sent it to for Janet told me that, her album was done and she had passed on it. So I took her name out of there. I sent it to RL. He got in the studio with Jamie, and he was like, yo, man, I need you to send me them files, man. Jamie gonna keep this one. I was like, okay, let's get it. So that's kind of how that came about. So I got a few stories like that where songs were originally written for somebody else and they ended up somewhere else.
That's great. Now, everybody's not built for this business, right? You got 20 years to claim, but at any point, and obviously singing is like your oxygen. Was there any point that you felt like quitting, whether it was group controversy, politics with the label, you just feeling like you're stagnant, the group is not growing? Did you going to quit, or quitting was never an option?
Yeah, I never felt like quitting, because it was like I just was doing this as a child. So even if I ever thought about quitting, I really couldn't entertain it at a serious level, because I was like, man, this is actually what I do, and I really don't do anything else. So what am I going to quit and go do?
Right.
That's what I was always thinking. And people always say, when you start a business, make sure it's something, or at least try to make sure it's something that you're already good at. So sometimes I would have, of course, I didn't feel like it, and it wasn't necessarily as fun. But then I would remember, hey, this is what you're good at. So just stick to what you're good at. You know what I'm saying? And people don't understand how durable this business is, because if you look at the touring side of it, hey, the touring has basically diminished right now. Like, we don't know when we're gonna get back on the road, but at the same time, the streaming and the residuals from the songs make the music industry still a very durable business.
Being in the group 112, again,
yes,
20 years plus, you guys rocking. I want to go down memory lane one more time, man, and give me one of the tours or two of the tours that were most memorable to you, and why.
I'll say the first one was the tour with Whitney Houston. Rest in peace. I mean, that was one of the first tours we ever did. Actually, the first tour was the Isley Brothers, but the Whitney tour was just amazing, man. It was because she had that level of respect. She would come out and be like, man, y'all boys were singing. And then I remember this one time we was on tour with Whitney, and she invited us to go to the park. She was like, yeah, we're going to be at the park. Y'all should come by. We're going to, cook some food and blah, blah, blah. So we go to the park, and her dancers, they ambushed us with water guns.
What?
Yeah.
What?
So that was, yeah, man. That was when she became Auntie Whitney at that point, She was like Auntie Whitney. One of my best memories in the music industry, period, was just being invited to like a cookout at the park with Whitney Houston, and then getting ambushed by her and her dancers with the water guns.
That's dope. That's dope. Straight water fight in the park, man. That's dope.
Yeah, man. So, but it was crazy because they had like the big super soakers, and we was like, hold on, no, we're going to Kmart. we can't do this. We finna go get some too. So we came back, and it was just a fun day. And I'll say the second one was this last Bad Boy in the Family tour. That Bad Boy in the Family tour, the last one that we did, man, that thing was epic. It was fun. It was epic.
That was like a reunion, right? Not just
the Bad Boy reunion too.
Yeah.
Because and the reason for that one is because I guess the quality of it, the stage, the lighting, and just the overall impact and quality of that show was just super high level. Diddy came with his A game.
Is that something he taught you guys though? Underneath his wing, like really just every single night go out and A game?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, Diddy has always been a perfectionist. It's always been like that from day one. Like, hey, doing it, as they would say, do it like you do it when you're doing it for TV.
We've seen rock groups like, Fleetwood Mac or Van Halen break up and get back together.
Mm-hmm.
Could Future be 112 getting back together?
Man, we've broken up quite a few times, like not a whole lot of times, but I mean, this time, a reunion after this one, because it's never been a type of breakup where it got into legal things, and not just legal, because we've had legal, situations between us before, but it was just because somebody was mad. It wasn't really nothing serious. It was just because somebody got mad and they just, filed a lawsuit. It was bogus. It was no validity to it. It got thrown out of court. But I mean, the situation that we're in now legally, unfortunately, is so serious. It's going to be really, really difficult, to come back from something like that. Unfortunately.
That's sad.
Yeah.
So does that mean you're doing a solo career? We should hear like a couple of albums, or you got featured anybody on these songs
Oh
coming
yeah,
up?
yeah. I'm working on some music right now, but as of right now, I really don't have any features as of right now. But once I kind of get everything done and listen to it, I'll consider that. But I'm definitely working on some music right now.
Let
Do
me
you
clear
think
my
Bigg
clear my
Pwee,
throat.
stop.
Get my vocals together.
do you think you need features? Like there's always been that controversy where artists feel like if they don't put out an album with Fat Joe and Beyonce and so on there on the hook or whatever, that they're not going to have all the ears. Do you feel the pressure of having to have someone from this genre, the hottest rapper on your album for us to really get ears?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think if it's fun, if it works for that record, I say do it. Like, cause sometimes, as a producer, you may be a record back in the day called Nah 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 Nah, and Sean Paul was hot at the time, and the vision was like, yeah, I want to get Sean Paul on this, So sometimes, the times can inspire you to want to do a record that features a certain person, but I don't feel no pressure because I'm from just the old school. I mean, it's all about marketing and promotion. I mean, if you market your music, you promote your music, and if it's quality, then people gon' they gonna get with it.
If you was able to look at right now in the industry, well, I should say they are in the industry, but Daron's top producers, who are they?
Um, Let's see. I always like Timbaland. You know what I'm saying? I always like Timbaland. I always like Dr. Dre. Um, I always like Babyface as a producer. I'm a fan of T-Pain as a producer. That's just to name a few, I guess.
Now, have you had a chance to work with any of them or sit in the studio with them to kind of pick their brain and see what what the recipe is?
No, I haven't done that. But just as a student of the game and somebody who plays by ear, I can hear the recipe. So, like, if you was to say, "Hey, Daron, make a Dr. Dre beat," I could just do that. Or if somebody was coming to me and say, "Yo, I want something that Timbo would make," yeah, I would know how to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because I know the instruments, I know the music, I know the sound just from playing by ear.
All right.
So I have a question.
Yes.
Who do you feel with today's R&B artists, rappers, entertainers, who is the new 112 in your opinion?
Right now.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. I didn't know who you might, or who's the king of R&B. Everybody's trying to run around with these titles. I don't know where it's coming from, but y'all originated it. So
Yeah, the game is a little different right now. Like, because when you're dealing with titles, you have to have standards, and the standards have changed so much. Like, I mean, how do you? Because back in the day, when there's only the charts, to verify if this is a hit song or not. But then now you have the charts, you have
streaming,
views, you have streams. Somebody out there that you could go to their concert, you in the audience and looking around like, what are they screaming about? You never know. You don't even know this person's name. Like, that's the time that we in with artistry right now. Like, everybody can be a star. So everybody can have a hit song, So the standards are so different. It's kind of hard to measure everything.
Right.
That's like when you go to Coachella and there's like 30 people performing and everybody knows the words to these songs and you're kind of standing there like, who are these people? Because they found them on YouTube or they found them on Vivo or they found them on all these platforms, but you never heard them on the radio. So you're right.
Yeah, so there's no such thing as mainstream. There's just mainstream is really becoming a thing of the past. What is that? I see a new artist every day with like 750,000 followers and somebody saying, yo, I love your new album. And I'm like, wait a minute, let me check this out. And it's somebody I never heard of before.
love. That's what it is.
Yep.
All right, so Daron from 112, my man, give me the name of the album that you're working on right now.
The name of the album I'm working on right now is called Pleasure. I have an album that's already out though. It's called Human, and it's at 80,000 streams already. So if you haven't heard that, make sure you go and get that. So it's at 80,000 streams and counting. And now I'm working on this new project called Pleasure. So it should be out pretty soon. I don't want to say a date right now because I'm just trying to wrap it up as fast as I can. But it's gonna have 30 songs on there.
What, 30 joints? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I got to get my vocals up, man. I got to get on one of these joints, man. You know
Come
what I'm
on, man. Come to the A, man.
Wait, since we talking about vocals and we about to get up out of here, my birthday was yesterday. So is there possible you can say me or not sing or say whatever you choose, happy birthday to me? I would super appreciate it.
What is your name? I can't remember.
J Tasha.
Okay, happy.
Thank you.
No problem, Mo. No problem.
Man, cut it out.
I am love.
Look.
Yeah, hater.
Hey, you knew somebody was gonna say something.
He always a hater.
It was yesterday.
D, give everybody a social media handle so they can follow you. It ain't like you need more followers because you got like almost 1 million, 2 million plus followers. But go ahead.
I need more. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. That's Daron from 112 on Instagram. At Daron from 112.
And I'm telling you, if you're not following my man, this dude sits up and does live shows. He gets behind the keys, the drums. He's performing. He's always hitting you guys off with new music that he's done, man. So please support my guy. I've known him. Man, I've known you for I don't know how long.
The whole 20 years.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for real. When 112 landed in LA, they did a show with us when I was with 92.3 The Beat at a school, and it was Destiny's Child, 112, and Jagged Edge. And I was like, okay, what's up, y'all? We gonna do this, that, and the other. These dudes went out there and they performed, and it was like all of them, mega stars now. But it was like, wow, like when you look back up on, your lifespan and the people that you've come across and you've rocked with, I'm truly appreciative of having the opportunity of knowing this gentleman right here, man. So, salute, and I wish you nothing but continued blessings, my man.
Appreciate that, man. Likewise. Thank y'all for having me on the show.
Thank you. Congratulations. Good luck.
So please make sure you guys follow my man Daron from 112 on all social media platforms. Pick up that album that's already out and be looking out for that next album. All right, ladies and gents. For the Spin Room, that's J Tasha, that's DJ Ronci, that's Big Les, and our special guest, Daron Jones from 112. I'll be your man, Bigg Pwee. We are the Spin Room. Have a beautiful and blessed day. Peace.
Yeah, you are now live